Are you guys ready? Amy and Grace, are you guys ready to go? Ready? You guys ready? I can be efficient. Ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, February 23, 2026. The time is 5:30 p.m., and I hereby call to order the meeting of the Champaign Unit 4 Board of Education. Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll of attendance?
Ms. Ahmed?
Here.
Ms. Armstrong?
Here.
Ms. Arnold?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Hendricks? Ms. Holder? Dr. King?
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Sowers. The first thing to do is approve the agenda. I've received a request from Board Member Holder to pull out item E from the consent agenda. I got this request after the agenda was published, so I'd like to take up agenda item E, which has to do with the technology device refresh, and place that into our action agenda, which conveniently also would be item E. But I guess we'll take that up before the student discipline issues. With that minor change to the agenda, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. I'd next like to welcome the public to make a public comment to the school board if you would like to. Everybody is welcome. You have 3 minutes. If you feel like you need additional time pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act, please let us know that and we'll accommodate a reasonable request. We have a lectern here. Help yourself. With that, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ms. Hart, and I've been a staff in this meeting with I want to talk about socioeconomic.
Ms. Hart, if
Mic's on.
Can you hear me? No. Don't take my time.
we're not going to take your time.
No.
One, two, three, breaker, breaker. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ms. Hart, and I'm a long-term member of Champaign County, half a century or so. I'm here to talk about socioeconomic segregation. I strongly believe that prioritizing socioeconomic desegregation policies to support initiatives is essential for sustaining structural improvements in school equity and attendance. Taking no action on socioeconomic segregation in the public school system is widely considered unsustainable for the taxpayer. Based on recent reports, Champaign Unit 4 School District faces significant financial losses due to high absenteeism. $45 per day for every student who is absent for a full day, an annual loss of about $4.3 million. Absentee crisis for the 2024-2025 school year, chronic absentee Unit 4, was reported at 34.8%. So that just shows that it's a crisis. And with a crisis, you need more than just initiatives. Addressing the chronic absenteeism crisis in Champaign Unit 4 schools requires initiatives that are supported with policy reform to be effective. So I strongly urge you to work with our city council and with the housing, the affordable housing, because it all correlates. We are not in separate systems. We're a layered government, but we are serving Champaign County residents. So I definitely would consider doing that. It would be very beneficial to the taxpayer and just for the whole community abroad. And also, Mr. Bruno, I want to give you my sincere apologies. You have someone in Champaign County with your same name, and someone put something on Facebook, and I thought you were the only Tony Bruno in Champaign County, and obviously you are not, and I shared it, and it was taken down, but that does happen when people share your same name. It was unintentional to cause you or your family harm, because your name is Tony Bruno and his name is Tony Bruno. And you guys actually have the same nose, but different hair and different height. But I didn't have my glasses on, and I shared it on Facebook, and I do apologize. I am a granny, but I will do better next time. But to get back to the issue of socioeconomic segregation, that is not in any way false. It is a true reflection of our city. It's very diverse, but socioeconomically segregated. So there's no confusement on that matter. Let's do this.
No, I'm not. I don't have anything to say. No. Okay. All right. I've already done so on social media, but I too want to apologize for sharing something that I thought was you that obviously wasn't. So I just want to make sure that moving forward, we do fact check and make sure we're talking about the same individual. I will, however, note that it was so easy for people to say that because of the way we feel right now. Maya Angelou said, remember how people make you feel. And it was so easy to share that because we believed it was you. Because some of the things that you have said, done, and some of the behavior that you've demonstrated. I want to see a better future for our children. I honestly believe you do too. I hope that moving forward, we can all come to some consensus of respecting each other. I want to respect you. I want you to respect us. And I just want to go back to, it wasn't okay that so many people shared that, but understand we felt some sort of way because we thought it was you, just because of how you've made us feel as people of color. We believe that you could do something like that. I hope that you sit on that, accept my apology, but understand how I feel and how so many other people felt that it could be you. Thank you.
Thought I would have an opportunity to catch my breath. My name is Reverend Jacqueline Minor. I say Reverend today. I normally say Jackie because I want to be in a place of peace and calmness. But I come feeling very discouraged here because I had hope for the school board. And I have been at this podium many times. It says always give people opportunity because people do change. I was hoping that the school board would change and make the children do what you need to do for their best interests, not for your agenda, not for your evilness, not for your hatefulness, but it seems like it keeps coming to the school board. What is it going to take for you to get rid of this agenda of doing nothing? It's time to put the children first. I was talking to two parents in my congregation that was talking about how the classroom was so full in kindergarten with so many different needs and how the teacher was struggling to meet all those needs. So why, when we have so many things going on that you probably don't care about, obviously, that you would give and offer somebody more money than is needed? Money should be going towards educating our children. It's time out for this foolishness. Some of y'all have been sitting on this school board. What have you done to make it better for the students in this district? You have come to this meeting to do nothing but stand in the way of progress. And this person that is going to be the school board superintendent is going to see that you don't have the best interest of these children. It's about agendas. It's about making sure you have the right narrative. And I'm just so saddened because you have an opportunity to do great work. But instead, you want to come here and do petty fighting. There were some of you I had hope for, Fatima, that you would be a voice of reason. That has not happened. That has not happened. You have continued to go down the same path that was already established before you got on the school board. It is time for a change. The people are tired of this. This young man, whoever it is going to find out. The minute he is not on your agenda, Tony Bruno, yours, Amy, yours, Betsy, he's gonna run into the same problem that Dr. Booster ran into. If you get good people, honor them. Make sure that you are trying to do a better job than you did. That's what we all do as professionals. We critique ourselves to see how we can become better. But no, we come in here and it's the same old lying, not being truthful, and disrespecting the people of Champaign and district.
My name is China Figueroa Dixon. I am a former Unit 4 student, parent of a current student. I wasn't going to speak, but I just want to say that I really am admiring how Osajali and Charlissa made sure to be accountable for their actions. And I would love to see those kind of behaviors mirrored. I know you guys don't want to be yelled at all the time, so just start working towards true solution. I'm running a campaign for county board myself, and I always tell people I'm solution-based. So you can hear us, 10 of us complain for 3 minutes apiece, right? So then that's 30 minutes. So then my logic behind that is to then spend 90 minutes on the solution. So hear the problems, process them, and then come solution-based. I want to see us all getting along and being like, wow, a year ago we were screaming at Tony Bruno and now a year later we like him. You know, I would love that for you. And maybe you like people not liking you. But me as a parent, as a community member, would like to just see some type of, unison. Let's unite, let's come together. How they were accountable, you be accountable. Mirror it, That way we can move on to positivity and not always talking about what's an issue or what's a concern. We can say these are the things that have happened that are better, and we're so grateful for a school board that supports and is all for equity. And I love, like I said, I'll say again, Amy's looking up, right? So that means Amy heard me when I had a problem with her not looking up. I don't have an issue with it. Cute haircut, right? That's how we do better. Have a good night.
Would anybody else care to address the board?
I didn't post that status, I didn't like that status, so I ain't apologizing up here. So, I do want to address you, board president. Last time you was on Penny for Your Thoughts, you pretty much said that the highest paid superintendent in our state is Winnetka. That's false, okay. Until he stepped down, the highest paid superintendent in our state was from Dalton. He was making $537,000 a year. And get this. Student proficient in reading, 19%. Student proficient in math, 7%. So money don't buy the top schools. You bringing in a superintendent is going to pay him $30,000 more than the CEO of Chicago Public Schools. And we can talk about Chicago, but Chicago also has the top 5 performing high schools in this state: Walter Payton, Northside College Prep, Whitney Young Jones, and Lane Tech. And we're going to pay a guy $30,000 more than what their CEO gets. You also said on the radio, this is like football. In athletics, you got to pay. I wonder what LSU thinks to send Brian Kelly home and have to pay him $54 million, or Penn State had to pay James Franklin 45 million or 48 million. Again, money don't, it's not all about the money. The superintendent of Rockford is getting what, 244,000, and they have 28,000 students to our 10,000, 4 high schools to our 2. And also on the college thing that you like to bring up when you go on the radio, I don't know, I didn't see my taxpayer dollars going to the University of Illinois. So before you get to talking big bank this, big bank that, the median income the last time I checked in this county was $32,437. That might not be all the way accurate, but it's not like Winnetka that has $150,000 to $200,000 median income. So like these people saying, please take us into consideration, because we're not Winnetka, we're not Chicago, and we're not Fairfax, Virginia, wherever this dude is coming from that has $150,000.
Thank you. Anybody else care to make a comment before we move on? Okay, seeing no one, we'll move on to our next agenda item, district updates from Ms. Stacy Moore.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
It's time to celebrate Unit 4. Tammy. 1 second. That's on. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to need your help in the back. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, in case you missed it, the Unit 4 Board of Education named Dr. Giovanni Ponce as the district's incoming superintendent. He will begin on July 1st, but will be visiting us periodically before then to get to know the district better. And we just want to say welcome, Dr. Ponce. You may applaud. And next, big news from Illinois State Board of Education. 4 of our Unit 4 staff members were honored with the Those Who Excel and the Teacher of the Year awards. Congratulations to Danielle Mallett, a teacher at Stratton. She has been named the Bilingual Teacher of the Year. And next, we want to say congratulations to Tiffany Klang. She is on the IT team, and she has won an award of excellence in the Educational Service Personnel category. And then we have Kendra Brower, a teacher at Barksdale. She won an award of meritorious service. Let's give her a hand. And finally, Amanda Lappin, an assistant principal at Bottenfield Elementary, won an award of special recognition in the school administrator category. Let's give her a hand. And they will all be honored in an upcoming ceremony at the Illinois State Board of Education, I believe in Springfield. And it is still February, and it is Black History Month. And Unit 4 proudly celebrates this time as we honor and reflect on the achievements and contributions and the resilience of Black Americans who have shaped our history and continue to shape our future. And Black history is 365 days a year. Yes, ma'am. Next slide, please. And did you know that Stratton Academy of the Arts is named in honor of Mr. Kenneth Stratton? He was a dedicated Champaign Unit 4 educator and administrator, the first Black City Council member in Champaign, as well as a member of the Champaign Education Association. Let's give him a hand. And last week, Unit 4 celebrated NAPID, National African American Parent Involvement Day, across the district. This day provides an opportunity for our parents, guardians, and community members to connect with our schools and celebrate the importance of family involvement in education. Let's take a brief look at our video of the activities that happened across the district. Thank you, guys.
Work today is broken. Every day, people
Next
juggle.
slide, please. Okay, the week of February 2nd was National School Counseling Week, and we need to take a moment to shout out our appreciation for our wonderful Unit 4 counselors, and we have them all listed there. I won't read their names, but they know who they are, and hopefully you know who they are as well. Let's give them a big clap. Next slide, thank you. And congratulations to the Central Maroons boys swim team for winning the Twin City competition. This was the team's 8th straight win. This team is on a roll. They also claimed the Big 12 championship. So let's give them a shout out. Next, let's applaud the Central's dance team for making it to the state stage. Prior to that, the team won first place in the AAA hip hop category at a competition hosted by Mattoon High School. And we just want to say congratulations on an excellent season. So we had Chargers qualify, well, one Charger wrestler qualified for the state championship, Sergio Beatty, and we want to say congratulations to him on a great season. And then we had these 4 Maroon wrestlers, they qualified for the state championship competition as well. And we want to say congratulations to Aja, Rylan, Talon, and Trael. And Aja is the first girl wrestler in Champaign Central's history to qualify for the state competition. Okay, next, kudos to Robin Glass. Ms. Glass has spent the last 16 years of her 22-year teaching career at Unit 4. She's a reading interventionist at Carrie Busey Elementary and was previously a classroom teacher at Booker T. Washington STEM Academy, and she's the latest News Gazette Teacher of the Week. So, Stratton Academy of the Arts received a $20,000 grant from Healing Illinois to support a new art-based integrated initiative designed to foster racial healing, community connection, and a strong sense of belonging for students and the surrounding community. The grant supports Healing Through Place, a collaborative project between Stratton Academy of the Arts and Dr. Jennifer Bergmark from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And this initiative will engage students in exploring local history, storytelling, and public art through 4 major components: a historical magazine project, well, they call it a zine project, a school mural, and a student-led oral history project, as well as a website. So we're going to look for great things to come from this grant and this collaboration of a project. Okay, Bidenfield Elementary received a donation of $2,500 from Bob's Discount Furniture as part of their Random Acts of Kindness campaign. So thank you to Bob's Furniture. And Bidenfield Elementary was recently buzzing when Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski dropped by to read to students. She is supporting our community-wide attendance campaign, Every Student, Every Day. So thank you for coming by and reading to our students. And Unit 4's College and Career Readiness team partnered with the Champaign Chamber to host a career fair for all of Unit 4's 8th grade students, and more than 60 vendors participated in this career fair. It was a really great event, so kudos to our College and Career Readiness Department and all of our vendors who participated. You can clap. And student registration. Are your students registered? If not, please get them registered. Go to champaignschools.org. /enroll and get them registered. Incoming kindergarten students, or if you're a returning student, registration is open for everyone. Visit our website, and if you have questions, staff is available to answer your questions. And finally, we have the 2026-2027 calendar is available on our website, so you can go there and download it, save it on your app if you have the Unit 4 app. Please do that so you can plan accordingly for next school year. And with all of that, I thank you.
Thank you for that update, Ms. Moore. The next item on the agenda is a summary of the FOIA requests that the district has received, and tonight we have a bunch of them. I think we have more than 20. If you wanted, I don't know how you were planning on doing it, but I think if you just wanted to read the names and the status, that'd be fine.
I promise. There are 23. Okay, let's do this. The following Freedom of Information request status as of February 18th, 2026. North American Procurement Council asks for bid tabulations and contract award information regarding the marching band uniform designs for Centennial High School. That request is pending and is due February 27th. Aaron Carpenter with Construction Connect asks for bid tabulation for masonry repairs at Edison, and that has been fulfilled as of February 6th. CT Mills with Public Info Access asks for records and policies regarding dollar thresholds requiring approval by school administrators. That request was fulfilled February 9th. CT Mills also requested records and policies and schedules regarding dollar thresholds, and that request was fulfilled February 12th. Erica France with Construction Connect asked for bid tabulation regarding intercom systems upgrades at Kenwood and Robeson. That request was fulfilled February 13th. Aaron Carpenter with Construction Connect asked for bid tabulations for several projects, and that request is pending and is due February 20th. Illinois Public Research requested records regarding employee compensation and contracts, and we are awaiting human verification. So the requested response back to us is due March 5th. Cheryl Camacho requested video footage. That request was denied February 6th. North American Procurement Council requested bid tabulation, and we are awaiting human verification, and that's due March 12th. North American Procurement Council requested bid tabulation and award information. We are awaiting human verification. The requested response is due March 12th. Aaron Carpenter with Construction Connect asked for tabulation and bid information regarding masonry repairs at Edison, and that request is due March 6th. Henry Michael asked for the names of the district's primary attorney from 2019 to present. That request was fulfilled February 12th. Smith O'Shea with Sunlight Access requested vendor contracts, and we are awaiting human verification due March 10th. Molly Sweeney with WCIA requested records regarding Montia Gardner. That's pending and is due February 25th. Mark Pasagua requested information regarding fencing repairs at Central High School. That request is due March 11th. Molly Sweeney with WCIA requested records regarding Dan Casillas. That was fulfilled in full February 18th. Champaign Unit 4 info@gmail.com requested the superintendent's contract for Dr. Ponce, and that request is due February 19th. Felipe requested emails regarding Elizabeth Stegmeyer, Richard McQueen, Bobby Cross, and Linda Mikowski. That's pending and is due February 20th. Chris Allen with Dodge requested information regarding Central Fields fencing repairs. That request is due March 16th. North American Procurement Council asked for bid tabulation and contract award information. This request is pending, due March 16th. Michael Ayala asked for records. That's pending and is due February 23rd. North American Procurement Council asked for bid tabulation and contract information. That request is pending and is due March 17th. And finally, North American Procurement Council requested bid tabulation and contract award information, and that is due March 18th. And that's my report for you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moore.
Thank you.
The school district, leading into our next agenda item, the school district subscribes to a service from the Illinois Association of School Boards that keeps our policy manual up to date with the latest legislative action coming out of Springfield. And they update it quarterly or so, and they issue a press release, PRESS, press release, and as those are issued, our policy committee takes up those updates, and we discuss them in the policy committee, and then the fruits of the policy committee discussion come before us, as they are about to, from Dan Casillas, in the form of recommendations that the board adopt the new changes. And so tonight, Mr. Casillas, I turn to you to give us an update, a first reading of the press issue 120.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bruno. Just to clarify, tonight will be report only. There'll be no action. It's part of our generally policy adoption practice. Whenever we introduce new policies, they come to the board for an initial first read. There's opportunity for discussion, and then at the next board meeting, it will show up as an action item. And so tonight is just a first read. As Mr. Bruno indicated, we did review Press Policy 120. I submitted to the board that in advance of this meeting to be able to address any questions that the board may have. And if the board would want, I can read every policy that was discussed or answer any specific questions regarding Press Policy 120.
I think in the interest of the economy of our time tonight, we shouldn't read everything. I think that it was a multi-hour discussion in the policy committee. There were a lot of items in there. The board has been apprised of all of the updates and given an opportunity to ask questions, and we're not taking any action tonight. So I would invite any board member who has a question right now to ask it of Dan, and we'll be prepared to have an answer for you either tonight or before the next meeting.
I just want to give a point of order with this policy information. Though we're not taking action, I think it's important if there's something that you believe the community should know, I think you should be able to communicate that effectively. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Casillas? Okay, thank you, Dan. Special Education Facilities Study, Ms. Meisland and Ms. Matkowski and Ms. Stegmeyer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Elizabeth Stegmeyer, Director of Capital Projects and Planning, and I have with me Damian Schlitt, who is a principal with BLDD Architects, and we are here to present the Special Education Facility Study. We're going to have 3 areas tonight. We're going to talk about the background and the process, the key findings, and next steps. Starting with the background and process. In July of 2025, Dr. Daniel Cates presented to the board an audit of Unit 4 special education programs and services. One of the key takeaways of this report was a recommendation of a facility master plan to support the current and expanding special education programming at Unit 4. In the fall of 2025, to address this key recommendation, the district hired BLDD Architects to explore facility-related items that were outlined in the report. So the report you're going to hear a summary about tonight includes findings related to 3 key areas: current programming, target space design, and ultimately a long-range outline of special education needs to help inform future district planning and projects. So as part of the process, we started with initial meetings for the interim superintendent, the executive director of special education, the chief financial officer, and Dr. Cates. Once we had identified the buildings to do thorough walkthroughs of, we also met with building administrators and special education administrators. And in all of those meetings, we talked about the context of the study, like how did we get here, why are we doing this, and the importance of a thorough review of all the existing facilities and programs. Damian's going to continue to talk a little more about the process and then talk about key findings and then ultimately the next steps.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So as we began the study, really we wanted to format it into a target of these 3 key goals. The first really around the importance and differentiation of these specialized self-contained programs. So as we're speaking to those in the study, we're speaking first to self-contained programming at pre-K and elementary specific to autism related programming and support. Functional life skills programming at the levels in particular at middle school and high school. The essential skills programming at all building levels from pre-K all the way through high school. One of the contexts as these dialogues were happening was the understanding that these are transitional programs, or the goals of them, that they're not a destination program, but the idea is to format them and utilize within the context of the greater building ecosystem. The second related to the value of clustering. That was a key component of Dr. Cates' report, the ability to better deliver some of those services through clustering. And then really this was all formatted in a way of identifying really a targeted facility solution, kind of a set of key targets related to each of these programs that as we do future facility planning, we can kind of have this common understanding as we're developing plans going forward. So to start that, and Elizabeth mentioned it before, we started out by touring 12 different spaces across 6 facilities, spanning from grades K through 12. Along with those, it included interviews with OT and PT specialists, special education administrators at those building levels. And we also interviewed and had some input from the autism program at the University of Illinois, which was really eye-opening and just really helpful as kind of an outside resource that specializes in that type of programming. So the key findings in the report are pretty extensive, but we want to kind of stay high level tonight as we walk through it here. These are broken down by those three programs. So the Autism Transition Program, ATP, you may be familiar with it as the STAR program. And what you can see here is really kind of a comparison both of the target programming, which is along the left-hand side of the chart. These are just some different characteristics, if you will, that we'd be looking for in these spaces. Including both the location and access within a particular building, and then layout and accommodations. And then across the top, you can see kind of identification of the different locations, and then the check boxes, whether they were kind of meeting that requirement, if you will, or that kind of target functionality. You'll see on here related to function and access, a lot of times those are pretty well covered because they have to do with accessibility and just, access within the building, which is kind of a key consideration as we outline and find these even in temporary locations. Then when you start to get into layout and accommodations, get a little bit more into detail related to things such as lighting control, access to plumbing, and those types of things. So you'll see some variety both between the different programs about kind of how close we are with some of these spaces, but also then as you go through and compare each of them. Something that should be kept in mind as well is with some of these, well, almost all of these programs, they've been placed into facilities that originally maybe weren't even designed for these programs. So it's not necessarily a shortfall of the district's actions, it's just a matter of the current spaces that they're in. We were able to see some kind of more ideal locations to be able to understand exactly how they're working well, what growing pains they might have to help us to understand that target. So you can see here, looking at functional life skills, some of the requirements related to location and access as well as accommodations start to get a little bit more defined just because of the types of programming that's happening in these spaces versus those of the autism transitional programming. And then ultimately, the same type of breakdown as you see here for essential skills, and which you can really see in each of them. I think it was really great from my standpoint as supporting the district and essential skills, for instance, here, almost a model type of program. We've got a space that supports that ES1, where there's just a lot of really great things. It wasn't perfect. There's a couple things we'd like to still improve upon, but those really worked as good examples as we were exploring them, real life examples, not just talking through, in this other space that I was at a point in time. So this is all backed up in the report. You can see actual imagery from those examples, so you can start to visualize for yourself too what's being discussed here and recommended. So looking into next steps, really the report here outlines those target programming, really a lot of the background and the importance of the variation between these programs is transitional. But it also sets us up to understand really some kind of key next steps. So now that we have some targeted programming, is the idea of kind of exploring the model configurations. How would these actually fit into a building? How would it fit related to additions or renovations or reconfigurations, all those types of things, looking at models of that. The next two, considering cluster sites, how many cluster sites, what those programs relate to, and then a similar type of modeling of those across the district. And then one of the takeaways from all of it was also just the expansion of program opportunities. If there's a way to more functionally and effectively deliver these programs in the building side of things, does it free up opportunities for that programming really to support the continuum of services across the district? And that concludes our overview.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Thank you all for your service in the report on today. I have a couple questions. The first question being, thank you for the presentation and continued service to the SPED and disability community. For community transparency, these are simple yes or no answers. In regard to facilities, is there a list of locations that we can review or had a walkthrough for you all?
Do you mean so that in the chart, the various rooms that were identified can be correlated with this specific room? Which
Or
school, which
also like
room?
what schools did you go to, what buildings did you visit? Could
We can
have
provide you that
list? Yes,
information,
'cause
yes.
That wasn't provided, so it kind of leaves us without information, without where did we go with that to go search.
Yes, and what we didn't want is that people, thinking, oh, this one's deficient or this one's better than that one. We were trying to just give a general overview of, ideally, these are the amenities or these are the things that we would have in every classroom, and to give you an overview of some of them are meeting most of those, and some of them really would be better suited in a different space, to give a general context as we work towards next step of facility improvements. But we can certainly share, with all of you, the list of classrooms that were visited.
Yes, I would greatly appreciate that, because we know there are disabilities that do have disparities that exist in different schools, but also we understand that SPED is not a monolith, neither are our children. The next question, is the goal for an expansion, yes or no? I know you stated it, but I want to make sure as the community is listening, they understand the purpose of you all being here. So is the goal for expansion, yes or no, with the programming?
Maybe yes.
Yeah, I would say that we identified certain areas that we definitely need to improve. And so if expansion means improvement, yes.
The next question is, are you seeking new additions, yes or no?
Yeah, I would, answer in a similar way. There's certain areas that, we have students in classrooms that weren't designed to necessarily be self-contained special ed classrooms. And we've done the best we could with the space that we have. But in an ideal world, we have them structured in a much different way. And so we are looking at ways that we can improve our learning environments for the students with the greatest needs in our district.
Thank you. My last question is, when it comes to new buildings or new locations, as in building transitions, will there be a takeover of another building or pushing other people out of buildings to then implement other changes?
So our next step is to make recommendations on, so cluster sites might be to, find a few elementary schools that may have STAR classrooms instead of every elementary school having a STAR and ATP classroom. So working with BLDD architects, we would make those recommendations for consideration. And then just to add on what Mr. Casillas said, we plan to present this report to the Facilities Committee next week. And the Facilities Committee, we're giving them a broad overview of all the district facility needs as we work toward recommendations to bring forward for broader facility upgrades and expansions. So this report will help inform other facility decisions and recommendations.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Armstrong?
Thank you for that, and I'm excited about the Facilities Committee and how many people with expertise are serving in that space. What would be an interesting correlation is maladaptive behaviors and what we see when you review these spaces and you can see that there are concerns in a specific classroom, maybe connecting it to what we have an increase in either student suspensions, student issues, because we see maladaptive behaviors as a generation from not serving students well, how there might be a correlation to space needs related to behaviors and students and discipline would be an interesting tie-in. And you could maybe, it doesn't have to be by next week with the facilities, because I think this is just enough to introduce the topic, but it would be an interesting correlation.
Any other comments or questions for staff? Ms. Ahmed?
Can you talk a little bit about your collaboration with the autism program at U of I? And were they, did they give recommendations? Did they walk the rooms with you? Just talk a little bit about your experience with them, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was done more of an interview, collaboration, conversation. They didn't actually participate in the tours with us, but it was really interesting to hear their feedback on our preliminary findings. And there is actually a section in the report of kind of some key findings from them, kind of what are some non-negotiables. As we were setting, as this being kind of the first phase as we work through this, getting that understanding of those targeted programs was a key. And I would think looking forward to some of the facility solutions, the opportunity to re-engage to kind of understand exactly how those solutions are. I think the comment was made that these are students are not a monolith. We literally talked about that as we walked to spaces. We're trying to create some type of targets for the least typical group of learners. And they were just really helpful in kind of identifying key items that, they know every space can't be perfect, but those key items are in there. And there's actually a section about that.
Good, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you both very much. At the top of tonight's meeting, we pulled out item E from the consent agenda, which is entitled Annual Technology Device Refresh, Student Chromebooks and Staff Laptops. We did this at the request of Board Member Holder. And so we're going to take that up now on its own, and then we're going to go to the consent agenda. So, Ms. Rhonda Thornton, do you have anything to tell us about that before we
Sure. Yep.
move to vote?
Good evening. I'm Rhonda Thornton. I'm the Executive Director of Data and Accountability. And with me, I have...
I'm Ben Kelly, the Assistant Director of Technology.
All right. And so we are happy to provide this presentation for you for any clarification or questions you might have. We bring this every year for review and approval, so that way we can be in accordance and in alignment with the Unit 4 vision and mission of empowering each learner to thrive in a diverse and changing world, as well as positively transform learning and life outcomes for students through educational justice, equity, and excellence. And specifically, we find our work in Priority 2 of Educational Access and Strategy 6 of investing in tools and technology to support flexible, accessible, and adaptive teaching and learning in and outside of schools, and ensure that technology resources equitably address school and student needs. And so to that end, we have created a process where we refresh devices kind of at our transition times. So we do it at kindergarten, 6th grade, 9th grade. And one of the things that we've made an improvement on over the last couple of years is we used to refresh at the 2nd grade level, but we now have removed that, and we do it just at those 3 levels that I just mentioned. And we'll explain a little bit as to why we made that decision. But at the kindergarten level and at the elementary level, we do 2-in-1 touch screens for students, as we find them to be a little bit more developmentally appropriate for students. And we are working on a plan for it to increase each year, so that way within the next year or two, all students at K-5 will actually have a 2-in-1 Chromebook. So we are kind of phasing it, so that way a 2-in-1 would be provided for every single elementary student. In the elementary environment, devices remain primarily in the classroom, and they have a cart environment. And students take their devices home occasionally. We always encourage them, especially during the winter months, for them to practice taking them home in the event that we have an e-learning day, and then students know how to use their devices at home. We charge for loss, breakage, or repairs resulting from disciplinary action as directed by building administration at that level. So you can see here, we look at our projected enrollment for the upcoming year, and that's what we base how many we'll purchase for each of the levels. We also do a little bit of an overage for loss or breakage. At the 6th grade then level, devices are, we believe in a gradual release of responsibility. So as they get to middle school and they transition to 6th grade, those devices go with the students back and forth every day. They are supposed to come back fully charged and ready for learning. We charge for loss, breakage, or repair resulting from disciplinary action as directed by building administration. Again, you can see our projected enrollment and the overage that we're recommending. And then at the 9th grade level, again, devices are transported daily. We do charge for loss, breakage, or repairs at the high school level, and we do take into consideration family socioeconomic status when those charges are administered. We also recognize that students sometimes may forget a device, so we do have a loaner process in place where each one of the classrooms has some loaner devices. We've not done a refresh of loaners in a couple of years, so we are recommending that we do some replacement of loaners to ensure that those are available in the classroom. Additionally, each one of the devices, we do have a $32 licensing and enrollment fee that we pay, and that just allows us to better monitor the devices. So the student refresh device is looking, the total cost for that is $1.3 million, $611. All right, then we'll talk about the staff device refresh.
Yeah, so for staff devices, we try to divide up the amount of devices that we would need over a 4-year period. That's what we would call our staff device refresh cycle. And so teachers, office personnel, and administrators are provided a district-issued Windows laptop on a 4-year refresh cycle. And we are currently, for next year, looking at year 4, which means that we would be providing these devices for staff members at Windsor, the Mellon Building Service Center, Transportation, Pioneer, and Randolph. And non-certified staff are provided a staff Chromebook as needed, and the Educational Technology Department purchases these devices and has an inventory on hand to fulfill the needs of these employees. Thus, an annual refresh cycle is not needed for those devices. We pick those up as we see the needs as we move forward.
All right, so here's our overall financial implications of what we are requesting for the purchase for SY27, as well as a little bit of information on how that has compared over the last 3 years of where we are in terms of the total cost. We also wanted to talk a little bit about the device accountability and financial recovery for the devices. So when we take a look at our overall inventory, we are a 1-to-1 district. We do look at how many students may have more than one active device assigned to them, and we're at 95.8% of our students have one device assigned to them. So that puts us closer to not fully 1-to-1, but more of an average of 1.08 devices per student. And what we see with students who end up with additional devices, it primarily reflects when students pick up one of the loaners, and the loaner is assigned to the student because they've forgotten their device, and then they don't return the loaner or they take the loaner home. Our refresh transition windows, especially at the 6th grade and 9th grade level, we see a lot of devices that don't get returned at that level. And then we also have some unintentional exchange of student devices at shared charging locations. Students, the human element factor here, they bring their device in, they set it down to charge it. Another student sets their device down to charge it, the bell rings, and they get ready to leave, and they accidentally grab somebody else's device. So we do see that. And it's not really a systemic over-assignment, but it is a lot of that human error and human, they are still teenagers, and, these things happen. In terms of our fee collection, we do, as mentioned before, we do assess fees. So it is built into our system to cover a portion of the repair costs. The fees are added to the student account by the building level technology staff, but collected by the building office staff. Our building technicians are not responsible for collecting money and taking in money. We also don't require them to pay the fee before we hand them a new device, right? We're in the business of providing devices to support the instruction, and so we don't want that to be a barrier to the instruction. Additionally, the repair fee collection has been limited to the high school students, as I mentioned earlier, and then approximately 4% of the fees are collected annually. And I think you want to maybe explain this a little bit.
Yeah, so we wanted to, we were just wanting to analyze just some of the reasoning behind why duplication occurs, and so we came up with these 3 specific factors that contribute to that. So one of which is the commuter effect. So whenever we have an e-learning day for K-5 students, that would be an opportunity for them to transport devices that they don't normally transport, which does create some legitimate duplication where a student holds their assigned device plus a temporary unit. We also noticed that During our refresh cycle, new device deployments at grade 6 and 9 create a transition window. When a student leaves 5th grade, the expectation is that they would turn in that device, and when they leave grade 8, the same thing would happen there. Students often retain possession of the older units during that handover period, and that can inflate our counts for our active devices. And then the last one we mentioned was the charging gap. So charging stations are intended for loaner-only use. They're frequently utilized for standard charging whenever a student brings their own device and needs it to be charged up and it wasn't charged ahead of time. So this can lead to inventory cross-contamination where loaners are retained and assigned devices are left behind. And so those are some of the reasonings that we've found as part of this process.
Right, and so we do have some mitigation actions that we take. We do deactivate lost or stolen devices when it's reported to us. We also deactivate and then we brick the inactive devices in our asset management system on a quarterly basis, which ensures that they remain unusable until they are returned. We are working to strengthen our end-of-the-year collection prior to the 6th and 9th grade refresh distribution, as Ben was just mentioning. We do work and have communication to families and individual follow-up for students with multiple assigned devices. Additionally, on the consent agenda item this evening, there is a proposal to implement a $30 technology fee. And then we also will start working with in the business office to assess a device, to assess a device return fee for building budgets to cover any excess devices. So if we see certain buildings that maybe are going above and beyond in terms of how many devices they're needing for their students, Linda is very willing to work with us on that. And then, again, as I mentioned, we are asking for a technology fee to be assessed alongside the registration fee. This fee will cover a portion of device costs. Obviously, it doesn't cover the entire device cost, but it is a way for us to bring some revenue back in. And the way we would implement that is in terms of the incident structure. At the first incident, there would be no cost. With the second incident, we would charge a 50% repair cost, and if there was any third or subsequent incidents, we would charge a full repair cost. And just a little caveat about that, lost or stolen devices are charged at the replacement cost with fees waived if the device is recovered. And then obviously if there's any manufacturer warranty repairs, they would remain free for families. We wouldn't charge them for a manufacturer warranty. And that concludes our presentation of the annual device refresh.
Ms. Holder.
Yes, all right. Well, I brought some things from home. This would be all of the Chromebooks, and I've asked this before, that have made their way, whether my own two kids who have only been through high school, one graduated last year, one's a sophomore, their friends, whomever, loaners, and they've actually just sat because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait and I'm going to see. Did we get a fine? Did we get anything? Because if there's a fine, I guarantee I'm going to be having them walk back to the school and return them. But what I'm seeing is, I understand this process. I'm not seeing it being implemented. And again, as a parent, obviously not acceptable for my students to, bring things home. But we know high schoolers, middle schoolers, kids are irresponsible. They leave their stuff. They lose them. I've got one that does that more frequently than others, but my question is, and I did reach out, I thought maybe, just my kids, I reached out to a couple other parents who are like, yeah, we've got a couple of these laying around, loaners, whatever. To me, if we're going to talking about a lot of, cost cutting, things like that, we've got a lot of, how are we accounting for these? How much are we actually getting back from, repairs and everything else? Is this something that's actually happening? Because again, I should be getting charged for these, or my students should be getting charged for these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not even sure if they were all brought in by my own students, but to me, this signifies a problem with accounting for our devices. And purchasing ones that we may not even need to be purchasing. And I understand they cycle in every couple of years and they get beaten down, but that's where my concern is on this constant, like, let's just replace. Are we accounting and are we charging?
Yes, so we do charge at the high school level. And like I said, when a student comes in and says that they've lost their device, our billing technicians do go in and they assess a fee in My School Bucks. And that does show up on the student account. In terms of, the number that you have sitting there, we would be happy to take them and take a look to see who all they belong to. But we do know that when they graduate from high school, they do get to keep them. So there's probably some of those in there. But we would be more than happy. When we did take a look at our quarterly release, of the number of students that did have more than one device. I think on average, most students, if they had more than one device, it was like they had 2 devices or 3 devices. And we did do outreach to families. So if you didn't receive any outreach to from the district, that means that most of those devices probably are not your children's, because when I looked at the review, I did not see any of your children listed on the ones that did have extra devices.
They definitely came home with, I know at least one of my children, they definitely came home with. I can speak to, and it's just, again, not, it's where's the, I guess that's my question, and maybe it's not at your level, maybe it's something that's not being implemented in the school itself, but I shouldn't have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm sure, I don't know what we pay per one, but all the licensure, everything else is $100 a Chromebook sitting right here, and it's just one of those things, like, are we actually, like, making sure it's getting implemented? I should not have these, and again, they've been sitting in my kitchen since last May. And I'm like, well, should I just send them? No, I'm going to wait and see, like, why do we have all these, I guess. Is there a way, is there a program, is there something that says, we can, swipe, like when this leaves the building? I don't know. When you log in, okay, so-and-so's logged in, this is loaner computer, property of unit 4, 47677, whatever it might be.
Yeah, so first of all, the devices in front of you there are I believe those are the Samsung devices that we use as our loaners for our students too. And just to peel back the curtain a little bit, those are the ones that we specifically assign to classrooms. So those ones are not specifically assigned to students. So if you see any of those, just public service announcement. If we see any of those at home, those are specifically supposed to be assigned to the classroom. If you were to bring one of those home, they're not even able to work at home.
They told me they're not able to work.
Yeah.
But
Right.
why are they bringing them?
That is one of the mitigation things that we do have in place, is that the loaner devices are to remain at the school. And so we have them set up so that way when they leave the Unit 4 network, they don't work. So they're probably just sitting at the house and you can't use them because they're not intended to be taken home. They're intended to be loaned out in the classroom.
Yeah.
And the loaner devices are actually assigned to the teachers. They're not actually assigned to students. So that tells me that there's probably some teachers sitting in some classrooms that have some loaners that are missing.
Probably right here. I don't.
Thank you.
I'm going to need your debit card.
As I said, feel free to.
Are there any other technical questions or demonstrations? Mr. Hendricks.
I have a question. When it comes to funding, because we know taxpayer dollars are very important, and we want to be mindful of the spending that we've been doing, because this is not my personal bank account. And I have never dealt with money this large before in my lifetime. I don't know if anybody else has, so I always want to be mindful. But have we applied for any grants? Do we know through ISB or through the state, such as the Digital Equity Formula Grant or anything like that? Have we applied for those grants to actually bring more funding and revenue to our spaces for technology improvement?
So we do use the district technology budget to support this, but we also rely on the Title I funds to fund part of the purchase. So we do use some of our Title I funds for it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for staff? Ms. Ahmed?
So I saw that the request is specifically for Chromebooks, and you don't have to answer it now. I was just curious, why do we rely on Chromebooks versus like laptops or something?
Yeah, just by the number of students that we have in our district with over 10,000 students, the price difference between a Chromebook and a standard laptop is rather significant. So we try to find the best value for the Chromebooks that we get, try to get the best possible machine we can get for our students and within the price range that we can work with.
And then just as a follow-up, then there are certain programs that can only run on laptops. So then, like, do those specialized, like if students are learning CAD or, whatever.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah, so at the high school level, there are some CTE classrooms that do have a different device. The other thing I would say about the Chromebooks is that if you looked across districts across the state, I would say probably even nationwide, the Chromebook is a very economical option for students. The other thing is that they are easy for us to repair. So, some devices require more specialized training or require that like only a certified person can actually do any of the repairs. And our building technicians do an amazing job of being able to quickly do all kinds of repairs to the devices because of the way they are manufactured, that it makes it very easy for us to swap out a screen, swap out a keyboard, even just a single key. So it is very economical in that sense that we are able to do a lot of quick repairs on them and kind of on-the-spot repairs.
Ms. Holder.
And this might be going towards teaching and learning, and I've heard this not just Unifor, but just across the country. We're putting, especially our younger kids, we're just putting them on devices. Is that something we're looking into, how much time they're on there? Also, I know the high school kids probably get around every single possible ban or firewall that exists out there. How are we preventing, say, Snapchat online, like all of those things?
Yes, I would say that I know we've had some conversations with TNL. I know that some of the elementary principals have had some professional development about screen time, and so we are looking at that. A lot of the vendors that provide our curriculum, they've all gone digital. And so I know that that's something that TNL keeps in mind when they're looking at new curriculum is how much screen time will it require. So yes, we are definitely looking at that and having those conversations.
Thanks.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. The administration recommends that the Board of Education approve the Educational Technology Department's purchase of the student Chromebooks and staff laptops from SHI International Corporation. Is there a motion that we adopt this recommendation?
So moved. Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing from no one, Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda?
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Hendricks.
I would like to discuss consent item I, human resource changes and resignations. This statement is in last week to the News Gazette, releasing headlines about the resignation of Principal Dr. Montia Gardner. I would like to take the time to thank Dr. Montia Gardner, the first Black or African American principal to serve at Central High School. Once again, Black history is 365. The time in this position may have been shortened, yet your impact has longevity. Those concerned with questions and emails, I thank you all for seeking clarity and answers as to what is going on in Central for the leadership. However, I solely am one person, one vote, and one elected official. I suggest that you all contact the Windsor Building and the CFT leadership. Respectfully, I'm only one person. I'm the only person that is Black or African American, as you can see. However, I'm not a token spokesperson. I'm going to request respectfully that the Windsor leadership and CFT leadership speaks effectively to the community and handle this for the sake of the community, because I'm constantly being contacted about the situation, and I'm the only black person on this board. I can't save everybody, and everybody's not going to speak up on behalf of the community. So I need you all to help me like I'm helping you, and make sure this is working together like we have on this wall. I'm asking you all, knowing the individuals I've spoken to and everybody that's involved in this situation, please be sure to use the system effectively so that you have effective school community engagement. Moving forward, I hope the next leadership over Central continues the success that Central High School is known for. Thank you.
Further discussion? Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Ahmed?
Yes.
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Are there any board comments this evening? Mr. Hendricks?
As always, I'm for the community. Be sure you visit the Urbana Free Library for a Journey to Freedom exhibit. It is there until the end of March, I believe. It's about the Underground Railroad through the Central Illinois experience. I would like to thank the NAACP Champaign County branch for the invitation for the Real Men Read initiative at Garden Hills and Stratton. I was able to be along with other black men from the community and the D9 organizations as well. Thank you to Ms. Minnie Pearson, the president, and the education chairs, Dr. Barbara Strug Mason and Jocelyn London Brown. Next week, March 5th, from 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. at Lincoln Square Mall, I will be hosting a booth with the Men in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated at the CU Read Across America Day. Please be sure to come out to support. We'll be providing children with literacy games and activities, also children books by black authors and gifts and more. So make sure you come out to Lincoln Square next week. That is March 7th for the CU America Reads Day. From 10 a.m. to 1, I'll have a booth for children to come and get books, activities, and more. Thank you.
Other board comments? Our next regularly scheduled school board meeting will take place here in the Mellon Building on Monday, March 9, and the next one after that, 2 weeks later, Monday, March 23. The board needs to have a discussion in closed session tonight in accordance with the Illinois Open Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing matters of student discipline. If after that discussion we take action, we will come back out here to this meeting room. You are all welcome to stay while we deliberate in the back on these issues. And then we...
Litigation as well.
And litigation. I'm told that we will also be discussing litigation. Thank you, Ms. Sowers. And so we will take that action out here in public, but it may be, I'm anticipating it could be more than an hour from now. But you are welcome to stay. Okay, so is there a motion that we adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing matters of student discipline and ongoing litigation?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll?
Is that Member Holder, Dr. King? Okay, thank you. Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed? Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We will adjourn to closed session at 6:48 p.m., and we will be back when we are done. Reconvening an open session for the purpose of taking up 4 items of student discipline following our closed session discussions. Does the staff need to talk about any of this, or I'm just reading these resolutions one at a time? Thank you, Mr. Casillas. Okay.
correct.
So I'm going to read 4 resolutions, each one at a time, and then I'm going to ask if we have a motion to adopt the resolution. So the first resolution. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 225642 shall be provided an alternative placement for the remainder of the 2025 to 2026 school year and all of the 2026 to 2027 school year for violating Conduct Codes number 18, physical confrontation with staff, 19, physical confrontation with a student, number 34, weapon-related activities, and number 36, mob action of the Unit 4 Student Code of Conduct, so long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the duration or remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement or expulsion is based on the following factors: the egregiousness of the violation of conduct codes listed above, prior discipline and other interventions attempted, continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Yes, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Wait,
Who moved this to the floor?
I guess
You
I
did,
did.
Betsy? You can't second it if you moved it to the floor.
I can second.
Dr. King seconds it, and Ms. Ahmed.
I just have a question. Are those in order of what we discussed back there?
They are numbered for me 10A, 10B, 10C, and 10D, so they should be
They are
in
in
the,
order of what we discussed? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
yes. Good question, yes. So there's been a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
The next resolution is as follows. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 209818 shall be provided an alternative placement for the remainder of the 2025 school year and all of the 2026 to 2025, I'm sorry, let me redo that. For the remainder of the 2025 to 2026 school year and all of the 2026 to 2027 school year, for violating conduct codes number 19, physical confrontation with a student, number 31, other acts that endanger, and number 36, mob action of the Unit 4 Student Code of Conduct. So long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the duration or remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement expulsion is based on the following factors: the egregiousness of the violation of conduct codes listed above, continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Sowers?
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
The next resolution reads as follows. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 210244 shall be provided an alternative placement for the remainder of the 2025 to 2026 school year and all of the 2026 to 2027 school year for violating conduct codes number 6, disobedience, number 7, disruptive behavior, number 18, physical confrontation with staff, number 19, physical confrontation with a student, number 36, mob action of the Unit 4 School Code of Conduct, Student Code of Conduct. So long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the duration or remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement or expulsion is based on the following 4 factors: the egregiousness of the violation of conduct codes listed above, prior discipline and other interventions attempted, continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Sowers?
Yes.
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed?
No.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1.
The final resolution reads as follows. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 211996 shall be provided an alternative placement for the remainder of the 2025 to 2026 school year and all of the 2026 to 2027 school year for violating conduct codes number 6, disobedience, number 7, disruptive behavior, number 18, physical confrontation with staff, number 19, physical confrontation with a student, number 36, mob action of the Unit 4 Student Code of Conduct. So long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the duration or remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement or expulsion is based on the following 4 factors: the egregiousness of the violation of conduct codes listed above, prior discipline and other interventions attempted, continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Sowers, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Ahmed?
Yes.
Ms. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Ms. Sowers. There being no further business before the board, I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm just looking to see who.
Okay. I thought maybe we were missing something. I'm going to ask that we do that one more time. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, moved.
Okay. Anyone opposed to adjourning? Seeing none, we stand adjourned at 8:40 p.m. Thank you for coming.